welcome to The Spawn Chunks, episode number 348 for Monday, May 5th, 2025. This is a podcast all about Minecraft, available across all major podcast platforms, including the video version on YouTube. And if you're enjoying the show, please consider subscribing wherever you're listening to this. My name is Jonny, but the internet knows me as Pixel Riffs, and my usual co-host, Joel Duggan, is unfortunately feeling a bit under the weather. So while he is resting up, we are guesting up. Today's guest is the wonderful SoupForEloise. You might know Eloise from her adventures on popular servers like Rats, SMP, Minecraft SOS, and Misadventures, or from her YouTube series in which she tries to recreate elements of Minecraft in real life. She is SoupForEloise on all the social media that matters, including YouTube and Twitch. Elle, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. Guesting up really tickled me there. I like that. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk all things Minecraft.
We mentioned this in the pre-show, but it is genuinely wild to me that Joel has never missed an episode up until now. Like, it's been nearly 7 years of making this show, 350 episodes almost under our belts.
I was going to say 350 that's a lot. That's a lot of episodes.
And Joel has already been podcasting himself for a good long time before that as well. So it's a streak that is rarely broken, and we wish Joel all the best in his recovery. He just has a bit of a sinus cold and feels a little bit rotten. Doesn't really want to. Yeah. Isn't too keen on being on camera. But in the meantime, Eloise and I have been chatting it up in the render distance. That's the extended version of the podcast, which our patrons can get access to by supporting us at patreon.com/thespawnchunks. We've been chatting about gaming, as you might expect. We've been chatting about couch co-op and all the fun that brings, and some of the games that are trying to bring that back into our lives, even in the year 2025. So if anyone wants to get a little bit more chat with me and Eloise, once again, that's patreon.com/thespawnchunks. The first thing we like to do in every episode of The Spawn Chunks is do a quick login and find out what's new in our Minecraft lives, and tradition dictates that the guests go first. So, Elle, what have you been up to in Minecraft lately?
Well, I am on a lovely little server called Misadventures, which you are also on.
Yes, aren't we all?
But I've mostly been building my little area, the first of my projects for this series, and it is a Van Gogh, or Van Gogh, however you wish to say it. I think it's like Van Gogh. Anyway, I've been building an area inspired by his paintings, because my plan for this series is all of my builds will be inspired by different artists. So after I've done this one, I'm doing a Dali dungeon, which will have clocks and weird horse-shaped figures. But for now, it's Van Gogh, and it's inspired by not just one painting, but multiple. So we have the main building is a cafe at night. So it's inspired by that. We have some paths, and some of the trees are inspired by Starry Night, as will the lighting when I actually do that up above. And we also he actually has some, lesser known works, which are his paintings for his time in the French countryside. And so I've got some fluffier trees and wheat fields that are inspired by that. But it's essentially been me for the past month trying to take a game that is very, very beautiful, but very flat in its essence, and trying to make it look like someone has gone in and hand painted it. So everything is little brush strokes. And it's been maybe one of my favorite projects that I've ever done. It's been a real challenge. I am essentially freehanding it all. I've not actually planned any of this beforehand, which has been fun but hard, but I don't think I could have really planned it much before. I've been doing that. It's a bit of a continuation. It's a theme for me. The series I was in last, that ended in February, I want to say, it was Rats. I made little pixel versions of paintings, including Starry Night. So I loved that. And then I went, how do I do more of this but not the same? How do I make it different? And I'm really... I actually don't think I've ever fallen in love with doing a big build like this before. And so that's what I've been doing. That's pretty much all I've been doing. But hey, it's what I've been loving. I mean, there's also lots of fun on Misadventures. There's dungeons and you can talk to NPCs. It's very fun. But that's been my bread and butter over the past few weeks, has been building that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I love the thematic consistency of bringing in the painterly stuff that you're doing on Rats and still doing that. Is Van Gogh specifically an important artist to you? I mean, important to a lot of people, I'm sure, but were you just this imagery speaks to me more than anything?
It's important in the sense of, to be fair, I distinctly remember growing up as a child, and when else do you grow up? I suppose you grew up as an adult as well. But some
of us still growing.
This deep, yeah, This is deep SoupForEloise lore. My parents divorced when I was 3, and my mum moved into a little like one up, one down. And at the top of the stairs, well, at the bottom of the stairs, she'd painted the bottom like wall all black. So I had my own chalkboard that I could draw on, and the top was a print, obviously not the actual painting, of Van Gogh's sunflowers.
she didn't steal the sunflowers from the nearest museum.
I'd be really impressed.
Yeah.
So it has been ever present in my life. Like, I think that's the first painting I actually remember was sunflowers,
right,
because
okay,
I saw it every day. But no, I mean, in terms of the project for this, it was more... It was a really nice starting point. It was a style that I felt I could quite easily replicate, or at least attempt to replicate. Like, there was a clear... he has a very distinct style, and that was something that I could try and work on. And then I was like, well, I don't just want to do that one time. I want to try and play around with that. So Dali makes sense for a dungeon because he's like a little bit quirky. It's a little bit darker. And I also, for those of you who are also into art, Nighthawks by Hopper. Hopper is an artist who plays spectacularly with light. A lot of his paintings have very just deep contrasts in light and shadow. And at some point, I want to do a build based on that and seeing how I can use the color palettes of blocks in Minecraft to create those shadows. Because I could use shaders, but I want to see if I can create that kind of contrast with blocks and try and tell stories through light using color palettes. So it's not just Van Gogh. I just thought he was a really nice starting point, and it gave me an excuse to mess around with a lot of bright colors as well. So I am actually going to the museum this month. Oh my gosh, that's this month.
Yeah, we're in May
I'm really
already.
Excited to see those paintings in real life. Yeah, I know. That's scary. But yeah, that's where it's come from, I suppose. That's where I've been at.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird to think of Van Gogh as like entry level as far as like stuff that you can reproduce in Minecraft. It feels, I imagine, to a lot of people, like you're setting your sights very high, but you have a bit of an artistic mind anyway. Like you do a lot of like traditional art stuff yourself, and yeah. I think it's nice to combine your real life skill set with stuff in Minecraft, and that's actually going to be part of our main discussion today. Is bringing elements of Minecraft into real life, bringing real life things into Minecraft, and how the two intersect. Because I think you have a surprising amount of experience in that field, so it's kind of nice to
more than I imagine most people do.
yeah.
No, it's been really fun. What about you? What have you been doing? I know you've also been on Misadventures, but I don't know if that's been your big source at the moment, or you've got other things going on.
The thing about Misadventures is I've now painted myself into a corner where I have to get all of the rideable mobs on the server. And so for people who listened into last week's show where I explained I was grinding the one dungeon over and over again to try and get a skeleton dog, still doing that. That's absolutely what's been happening on streams. I'm gathering build ideas in the background. I'm also gathering currency in the background, because the area...
You must be wealthy at this point.
I think I have about 50,000 coins, but the area I want to build in is going to cost me 85,000. So I could either do a bunch of quests and bits and pieces. I could start like beg, borrow, or stealing from various people on the server, but I think it's kind of fun to sort of kill two birds with one stone and trust that my luck will eventually deliver the last mount that we know about, as far as like what the admins have told us, which is very little. And then I'm gathering build ideas for a Sky Kingdom sort of thing that's now in ruins and being raided by pirates. And I'm hoping to tie that into some of the stuff. Now we've updated the server to 1.21. That can maybe be a source of things like wind charges and breeze rods. Considering that it's up high in the sky, and that's typically where you want to be when you're dropping on somebody with a mace, maybe we put heavy cores in there as well. But obviously, I want to make sure that stuff is part of a dungeon, part of a fun experience. And so I'm making peripheral plans for that. In the meantime, I've been still playing the April Fool's snapshot from this year, Craft Mine.
It was really good.
It was good.
It was quite incredible of an April Fool's snapshot, honestly. I was very impressed with it.
They've knocked it out of the park several years running. My favorite of all of them was One Block at a Time, where they removed inventory entirely and you could only carry one thing, but then the offhand still worked, so you could sort of carry two things. But I decided, after having done a full week of One Block at a Time, I thought I can probably get like 4 or 5 videos out of Craft Mine as well. So it is May, and I'm still playing the April Fool's Snapshot. But I've started doing the sort of problem-solving element of going in, trying to see how many mine elements I can acquire from a single run. So, like, every time you break flowers, there's a chance that it drops the item that lets you put sniffers into the next level, and you kind of build worlds with all of the elements of Minecraft that are missing from them. You can just kind of pile them all back in. So eventually you just rebuild a Minecraft world. But it's roguelike. So I think it's a really fun way to play, very different. It just feels like they've taken Minecraft as an engine and created an entirely different game with it, but obviously with familiar elements like the 3x3 crafting and everything. The skill tree at this point looks a little bit ridiculous because there are so many elements of it that you can expand outwards almost infinitely. So every time you leave one of the levels, the mines, you return to the hub world, you get a bunch of XP for completing it, and you can level up the amount of XP you get from the skill tree. So the more levels you earn, the more levels you can earn later. And so now I think I'm up to like level 14 or 15 of just additional XP each time, which is absurd, but it's very, very funny. The things I'm still lacking are proving problematic, though, because there are some areas where it will start you off in a completely randomized dungeon where you have to like kill waves of enemies. You don't have any control over what generates there. You just have to deal with it. And unfortunately, that seems to start with skeletons, and the shield doesn't work in this iteration for whatever reason. It's kind of broken. I think people created mods to make the shield work just for the April Fool's Snapshot, if you can believe it. But I'm starting without food at this point because I haven't unlocked food from the skill tree, and there's no like passive mobs around for me to kill for food. So I've ended up dying in that level a couple of times now just because I forget one thing that actually is so second nature at this point. Like, it's so automatic playing regular survival Minecraft that I didn't even consider I would need it when going into this randomized dungeon element. So it's a little awkward, but I'm getting there, and I think I've probably got like another couple of sessions of this before I've cracked the whole thing. But it's a delight. It's just fun to be playing Minecraft in a way that isn't the traditional kind of survival or creative or hardcore, you know. And there are obviously a lot of challenge maps, a lot of different ways to play, but when Mojang themselves completely gut the game in favor of whatever wacky mechanics they wanted to put in there, I think it makes for some really compelling gameplay.
It was really awesome to see them take their game and then just completely merge it into something new.
Yeah.
Like, they've done such a good job with it. I think it's really cool. I mean, the potato one was last year. Was that the year before?
It was last year, yeah. So that was like basically a custom dimension with all of the poisonous potato themed stuff in it, yeah.
And it was very cool, but this feels like a step above.
Yeah.
The potato one, you can mess around for a few hours and have fun. This, like you said, you've been playing it now multiple sessions, and you know you have multiple sessions ahead. Like there is just a full game there that they've crafted, and I think that's awesome. It was. I remember, I think when it came out, people were a bit like, "Oh, what is this? I don't get it." And it's like, actually, it's actually quite detailed, is what they've done. This isn't just I think it's awesome.
It's a legitimate way to play. Like it's always there in the Java launcher as well, so you can go back and play at any time, which I think is the strength of having all of those previous versions on Java. Like, I could revisit my one block at a time world if I wanted to, you know?
Yeah.
We're going to move on into the news this week because there's a snapshot to talk about very briefly. This is Snapshot Java Edition 25W18A. That's published on April 29th. A few changes to what we've been seeing in the development of Happy Ghast and the changes to leads lately. So first of all, Splash Potion effect strength is now based on the distance between the entity's hitbox and the Splash Potion's hitbox, which is a little bit different from how they work in the game already. This now means that if an entity is hit directly by a Splash Potion, it receives the full effect of the potion, and if entities are grouped together, they receive the same effect strength. The slime ball in the lead recipe has now been replaced with a string, so you no longer need slime to craft leads. Piglins can now give dried ghast blocks when bartered with, and the recipe for the dried ghast block has been updated to now require a soul sand block rather than a bone block. So some technical changes in this snapshot. The data pack version is now 75 and resource pack version is now 59. All JSON files in worlds, packs, and configurations, etc. are now parsed in strict mode, which I'm sure makes sense to somebody. They've updated Unifont to 16.0.0.03 and added previously omitted Unifont glyphs for private use areas. So now you can technically use alphabets from non-standard languages, like Tengwa, which is the writing system the elves use in Lord of the Rings. So that's kind of fun. A couple of fixed bugs of note in this snapshot. Ghasts and happy ghasts weren't previously affected by potions thrown on their heads. I assume it would have to target a really specific part of the ghast's hitbox in order to do anything or splash on the ground nearby, but that's now been fixed along with a handful of other bug fixes. For the full technical details of this snapshot, we encourage you to check out the Minecraft.net changelog. That's linked in our show notes over at thespawnchunks.com. So, El, how much do you keep up with Minecraft development? Do you test out many snapshots? Are you the kind of person who waits for them to get into release versions before you dive into the new stuff that's coming, like Happy Ghasts?
A bit of both. I'm definitely not a weekly snapshot player. I don't keep up enough to know that. I mean, I tend to kind of see when there's weekly snapshots. So I knew about the lead thing before this point, as in like before this conversation.
Yeah.
So I have my finger on the pulse to an extent, where I'll kind of, if something is going to impact me as a player, I'll probably know about it. A lot of the time, I don't feel the need to go and test that out in a snapshot unless it's a pretty major update.
Yeah.
Obviously, of course, when the snapshots came out with all of the new variants of the animals, I did go and test that out because how could I resist?
Mm-hmm.
It's so cute. I think I tend to test them out if I feel there's a pull that impacts me enough as a player. Like,
sure.
And in the way I play specifically. Otherwise, I'm quite happy to be like, okay, that's cool that that's happening. I will let that happen and I will experience that when it comes out. So it's very dependent on, if I feel like it impacts my play style.
Yeah.
I know there's definitely people out there who are so on it and they test out every single one. I don't know if you obviously are very aware of it, but do you test them out every time or do you just keep in the know?
I don't always load them up, but the nature of doing this show every week for the last 7 years has meant that I can't not stay on top of development news. It's not every week that I'm loading it up and going, oh, like let me see how the lead change affects gameplay, because like I can kind of puzzle that through theoretically in my head now. I can go, well, like I was kind of surprised actually that they changed the recipe for leads. At first I thought like the way I play, sometimes I play like Minecraft Bingo or something where like you've really got to run around trying to find a swamp to get slime on your first night if you want to be able to craft leads, because sometimes those are the items that pop up. And now it's going to be way more easy to get hold of leads because all you need is enough string. I thought that kind of devalues slime in the overall balance of the Minecraft ecosystem, which felt like a shame at first, but then I got a bit of perspective on it and I thought, you know, it's so difficult to get slime in peaceful mode, but the changes to leads and how much better those work with passive mobs now, and the happy ghasts being available in peaceful because they're not related to the hostile ghasts in any way, like that makes it so much more valuable for peaceful players to be able to craft leads whenever they want to and use the happy ghasts as like hot air balloons and stuff.
I was going to say, I think it's definitely a change that directly relates to the Happy Ghast and how you can interact leads with the Happy Ghast. I think they just want to make that as accessible as possible, essentially. And yeah, if there's peaceful players who can't access that, then that's going to suck for them. And I have been in worlds before where I'm like, oh, I need leads. Oh, I'm going to have to go to the swamp to try and get slimes and stay there overnight. And it's fine. It's not the end of the world, but it's definitely a mechanic that has felt tiresome at times. So I think it's a shame for slimes to not be involved in that in any way, but also string makes just as much sense. I think.
I think the assumption that the player can tie a knot, even with those big blocky hands, you know, it's kind of like, you can probably make a lead without having like an adhesive or whatever. Like I appreciate that the recipe was trying to use new items in like an interesting way and trying to not just make it the most straightforward thing in the world to craft. But then these days, I think so many people get their leads from killing wandering traders that I think it's actually kind of nice.
That's the main source.
Yeah, so I think at least Mog Swamp, who absolutely loves the Wandering Trader, is going to be a lot happy that there are fewer Wandering Traders just getting murdered for their leads at this point. Yeah.
This is very true.
So do you like what you've seen of Happy Ghasts so far? Have you had a chance to play around with those?
I love it. Yes. So I very kindly got invited by Mojang Studios to go to the office in Sweden in March. And Agnes, who is the director of like the game, designing the game. She gave a presentation to those of us who were there. And we were told, this is super top secret. You can't tell anyone about this until we tell you that you can tell people.
Yeah.
And we got told about the happy ghast. And I cannot tell you, I cannot emphasize the feeling in that room at that time. It was just everyone going, oh my God, like, it was just an immediate response of, oh my God, the little dried ones are so cute. And then the fact that we were getting a mount that essentially meant we can fly without having elytras, and earlier access in the game, just, you know, we were just so excited about it. And we then had to keep our mouths shut for 2 weeks or whatever it was. We got to play around with it while we were there. And actually, to be fair, there haven't really been any major changes since, aside the leads now being usable, which I think is great. I really like it. I really like it. I've played around with it. I think it's quite frankly adorable.
Yeah.
And does make you, if you think about the lore, it then might make you actually really quite depressed about nether ghasts.
Yeah. Like what's
leading.
happened to make them so grumpy, for one thing?
Yeah. Well, the answer is they're really dehydrated.
Yeah.
They need to moisturize.
I think it's an
miserable.
important message. It's an important message to send. It's why
moisturize.
Everybody on Twitch has like a stay hydrated alert that their chat can play and things like that. And it's like that because that's the alternative.
Water, wash your face.
You shrivel up and you start spitting fireballs at anybody who comes near you, right?
And you'll cry all the time. No, I really like it. I think it's an excellent addition to the game, and I think personally, I'm of the opinion that they've balanced it really well in terms of it doesn't render elytra as useless at all.
Yeah.
Like it's and it doesn't render other modes of transport useless either. Like minecarts are still important. Ultimately, the happy ghasts are relatively slow. They're incredible for building, which I don't feel like any other transport mode really offers us. And the fact that you can now move mobs using them is incredible, because that was a long-lived pain in the behind. It was constantly a frustration, and I love them. I think they're great. And when it first came out, people were like, well, this can make elytras pointless, and I'm like, no, it doesn't, because if you're wanting to travel thousands of blocks, you are not taking a happy ghast. It would take you a long time. But yes, I TLDR, I like them a lot. I've played around with them. I think they're super fun, and I think having spoken to the team about them, I think people have wanted this for a long time, like some kind of flying mount, and they've clearly put a lot of thought into how to do that, how to balance it, how to also make it make sense in the world. And I think they've done a very good job.
I totally agree. I think it's not going to revolutionize transport for players. It's going to revolutionize transport for all kinds of other stuff. Like, and the fact that it feels like, even though a lot of people think the harnesses for them are a little bit silly with the giant like flight goggles and stuff, like
they're so cute.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes stuff just needs license to be cute, and like, you know, it doesn't have to take itself too seriously. But then you think about seeing one of those coming, and it's like dropping off a package for you, and they can just like release like a chest boat that's got a bunch of items in it for you, and that can be like the postman coming to visit or something. Like there's so many little fun ways that can be immersive, and seeing a ghast in the overworld no longer has to be like immediate panic mode, like my builds are going to get fireballed. Although I imagine the pranksters are going to have a lot of fun, like baiting people into expecting that a ghast is going to be happy, and then it starts raining fireballs.
I mean, it still could be a threat. You can start firing some flaming arrows down from that thing. It's it's going to be excellent. I think, a lot of
mini game potential with them as well, especially
the mini game potential is incredible,
because you can swap them for being like floating platforms, and you know, if you're standing on them they'll stay still, but then the rest of the time they're going to start idly floating around, and so you've really got to time your jumps well. And I think there's a lot of potential behind them, so anybody who's naysaying at this point has overlooked a lot of potential there.
Yeah, I think if they are naysaying, I think they are just poo-pooing for the sake of poo-pooing. I will say, I think the Hermits are going to have an absolutely wild time with them whenever they update to that version.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the games that they've created so far. And I'm excited to see that. Excited to see that.
I would love them to get on Misadventures at some stage, which I know we're trying to keep things very ground-based and like connect everything up with roads and feel like this coherent RPG world. But if we ever get the chance to update with happy ghasts, my like Sky Pirate dreams are going to be so fulfilled at that stage, because it'll be a great way to float everybody around and get to visit the Sky Island stuff that I want to build. So I'm all for it. I'm on board. We're going to move on to a little bit of listener email, because we always get a little bit of email read on the show from our listeners. For folks listening, if you'd like to email the show, the email address is spawnchunkmail@gmail.com. If you keep your emails short and to the point, it really helps us include them in the show more easily. Nice clear subject line and everything. That'd be tremendous. Our first email comes in from Phil M with the subject of vibrant visuals and creators. Phil says, I think vibrant visuals is one of the greatest additions to Minecraft in a long time. For both performance and for players, I think it's a great modernization of the game. How do you think vibrant visuals will affect creators like yourselves and other YouTubers and streamers? Do you plan to use them? And do you foresee other content creators playing with vibrant visuals on or off? Thanks, Phil. So we were talking earlier about the stuff that you're doing playing around with light and not wanting to use shaders for your Van Gogh-inspired builds, but you've obviously had some experience with shaders and stuff before. Do you typically find yourself using them for regular gameplay? And do you think vibrant visuals is going to be something you would dabble in?
I mean, I do use them currently, just for visuals. I mean, when in terms of playing with light, I just meant I'll use blocks instead to create those gradient changes instead. But yeah, no, I am a shaders player all the time. I love shaders. I think Minecraft is a very pretty game, but it is so amplified with light and those changes. It makes it feel so. I don't know. When I tried shaders for the first time, it felt like the moment I loaded up Minecraft for the first time when I was 11 years old and had little childlike joy, and that's what the game looked like for me. So when I booted up shaders for the first time, I felt like, oh my god, yeah, this is what I thought Minecraft looked like when I was 11 and had childhood imagination. In regards to vibrant visuals, that was another thing we got to test out in Sweden, and we actually got to talk to the people who were making it. And I will say they've done an incredible job. So much work has gone into that. And in terms of the question, do you foresee content creators playing with vibrant visuals? That was actually one of, I from what I remember of those conversations, one of their inspirations was they went to look at how content creators played the game and how audiences were receiving the game from content creators. And they noticed that a lot of content creators played with shaders. Like a lot of content creators. And they went, that is clearly something people care about. And yeah, I mean, but when they come out on Java, I will probably be using them. Why not use the shaders that are built into the game and are optimized for the game, that are optimized to also work on PCs that are of lower spec? I don't see any reason not to. And I love the way that they've done shadows in vibrant visuals. I think I've not seen shaders that replicate that in the exact same way. Every single block, essentially, with vibrant visuals has had to be retextured. It's got a new texture for different states of light. And I think that's incredible. I think it's a brilliant modernization. And I think it's something that... I think for anybody who plays, particularly if you're playing on Bedrock, where shaders aren't as easily accessible, I think it might kind of spark some of that childhood wonder again. That feeling of like, oh wow, like this game looks amazing, and I'm excited for people to see that. I will probably switch over. I know there's certain people who really tweak their shaders to be perfect for them, and they want certain I know Lizzie has certain color palettes that pop, and that's part of actually her branding, like her familiarity. But for me, it's just there to make the game look a bit nicer. So vibrant visuals will do that perfectly. Yeah, I'm such a default shaders person myself. Like I just download whatever version of complementary, and I don't change much. I go, yep. And unless like the amount of bloom and stuff is just completely overwhelming. But like even then, that's the only thing I change is bloom. It's bloom. It was every that, time. And I think Sonic Ethers used to have motion blur that I would turn off because that was a little bit distracting. But like even then, I tend to shy away from using shaders for regular gameplay myself.
I reserve them for like cinematic sequences or time lapses, because most of the time I'm thinking about doing stuff for video, and I want the time lapse to feel entertaining, both in terms of like there's music playing in the background and the action is going super fast, but also there's like, you can see the advance of day and night so much more clearly with shaders. I know some folks find that a little bit irritating, especially if it's like super fast, but yeah, like there's a couple of ways of showing actually a lot of time is passing while I'm working on this project. And like, I haven't used shaders at all in stuff like the Minecraft Survival Guide for the entirety of this newest season of it, because I prefer to keep that series like as vanilla as possible. I don't have any mods installed. Like, it's not a modded client. I don't even have like Sodium or Optifine or anything like that running, because then viewers with less Minecraft experience can just follow along with whatever version of Minecraft they play, even if they play Bedrock, and there's just less fuss involved. But Vibrant Visuals changes that for me, because it's going to be available by default to everyone on Bedrock Edition and possibly most Java Edition players, hardware dependent a little bit. But it seems like what they plan to do is, optimize it for whatever type of hardware people have, which is a very exciting thing. And I think I can foresee people using it more, even if they were somebody who shied away from shaders before, just because it's built into the game and it's like a way of experiencing default Minecraft. And that's never happened before, which is just a phenomenal thing for Mojang to do. So yeah, as far as foreseeing other content creators playing with Vibrant Visuals on or off, I think there are still going to be some people who are the kind of purists and classicists who are going to stick with traditional visuals. And my point of view on that has often been that if you can make something look good with Minecraft's default lighting engine, it's a good build. Whereas with shaders, you can make a dirt house and it still looks nice because the sun is shining on it and there's all of the kind of play of light and shadow. But I still think Vibrant Visuals is going to play a big role in kind of punching up the way something looks visually. And if it's available to everybody, I think it makes it so much more approachable.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I respect that you don't play with shaders, because you want it to feel authentic to your audience. You want it to feel relatable to them, and that makes a lot of sense for something like the Survival Guide.
Yeah.
It needs to feel familiar for that audience member, so that I like that. But of course, that can change now.
Yeah, it can, and
if you want it to.
If you want it to, I think that's the other interesting thing. Is you mentioned you felt like this was what Minecraft looked like to you when you booted it up as a younger player, and like the nostalgia goggles a little bit in a similar way to when I grew up playing like PlayStation 1 games. Like, going back to them now, I think, wow, like I filled in a lot of this stuff. How like, the visuals look. Like I did a lot of like mental acrobatics to sort of say this looked good, because obviously for the time it did. And I don't necessarily have that with Minecraft, because I started playing when I was maybe like 26, 27. I've been playing the game for about 10 years now, but I was like fully an adult and like well into my 20s when I first picked it up on Xbox. And so I don't necessarily have that. I had like a very kind of like adult view of what Minecraft looked like, and I don't have the same sort of nostalgia goggles for it. So shaders maybe don't do that for me in quite the same way, because
I can see that.
I'm so used to like the aesthetic of the game from like I don't know, my brain is fully developed and it's resistant to new ideas at that point. But I think it's really interesting to get both sides of that. We're going to quickly move on to our second email, though. This one comes in from Elkhorn95, who's a landscape artist member of our Discord. So thank you so much for writing in. And this one's about Happy Ghast. So we're bringing the conversation back around to Happy Ghast, and Elkhorn is suggesting an alternate way of having Happy Ghasts be renewable. Hi, Joel and Pix and Eloise. While I'm happy we've been provided with a means to get Happy Ghasts renewably, crafting the desiccated husk of a ghastling seems a little odd, morbid, creepy. Instead, what if there was a modification to the existing mechanic/challenge in the game, an uneasy alliance? The current version of the challenge requires you to get a ghast to the overworld and kill it, but perhaps there could be a conversion mechanic once it's in the overworld to turn a standard ghast into a happy ghast or ghastling by hitting it with snowballs, or feeding it ghast tears to hydrate it into a happy ghast. Or players could hit the ghast with fire charges, or trap it on top of dripstone to dehydrate it down to a ghastling. Mighty curious to hear your thoughts on this possibility. Elkhorn95 died trying to feed a ghast its own tears in the overworld to make it happy. So, if you're not familiar with the format of these, a lot of the time people sign off emails with like death messages when they write into the show. It's just like a running joke that's been there since I think some of the earliest episodes. So, somehow Phil survived the previous email. Elkhorn clearly did not.
Well done, Phil.
Yeah, good job, Phil. You're one of the good ones. So, have you ever done the advancement that you have to bring a ghast into the overworld?
Yes, in SOS, Minecraft SOS, last year. It was one of the ways, if you don't know SOS, if we died, we could be revived with coins. And we had to earn those coins through different challenges, and getting a ghast into the overworld and killing it was one of those challenges. So yes, I did. And it was a bit of a nightmare, because in the process of doing it, it was the week when we also had to look after a pet for a week. And when we say pet, I don't mean a pet that is tamed. I had a fox. And if you don't know, foxes will try and run away from you. So I got onto the nether roof, and then my fox, who was called Gibsno, decided to run away. And I spent a lot of time running around on a nether roof very far, trying to catch this fox, all the while being very scared that a ghast was going to spawn and kill my fox and lose me the other challenge going on. But we did get it done. And yes, it was the only time I've ever done it. And it felt quite mean. It felt quite mean. I also, I did not set up the portal for this. It was Fwip and Owen who did, and they set it up right outside my house. So every time they wanted to get a ghast over, I was very scared that the ghast was going to blow up my house.
Yeah.
But I felt really mean. I felt very mean doing it. It's not an achievement I ever think I will do again unless I have a direct cause to do it. It feels terribly mean. And I think we all had a pop at it on that series. I think we all had a go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember using the same setup, I think, for my go at getting it. Do you think you'd be more inclined to do it if there was an alternative to killing the ghast? Like, do you think it would be less mean feeling if you had a chance to then like revive the ghast and have it be a happy ghast?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would much prefer a happier option for the ghast in that situation. Yeah. I don't know if I would want it as an alternative to the happy ghast in its current narrative, though. I like that you bring over this little ghastling and you raise it, and I think I mean, I can't say I know, but like, I think maybe the logic there was that you grow attached to this thing and you've grown it and it's a bit of a pet, and so then when it's a grown up, you have I guess a duty of care to look after your big ghast and care for it. And I like that little story. I like that you have to wait for it to grow. It's not an immediate thing. You've got to go in and you've got to find it. And you've got to bring it back and nurture it. I like that you have to nurture it to get your reward of a flying mount. So I don't know if I'd want it to be, I say simple, it's actually not easy to get a ghast into the overworld. But I guess I don't know if I want it to be as rudimentary as that. Just bring it over and then hit it with something. I mean, I think it's a wonderful idea. I think it would have been a great alternative, but I think I can see the logic behind it. I will say, I don't necessarily know if I like the idea of it being a craftable item. I think it's great for builders who want to use it as a block, a decorative block, and that's wonderful. But I think having it as a craftable item kind of contradicts that whole finding it and nurturing it. And obviously, I think the logic is they want it to be easily accessible. But I don't know, just bring the spawn rates up. That's my personal opinion on at least the crafting of it as an item. You can't craft the cow, so why can I craft this hatchling? You can't even craft a sniffer egg.
You know those like don't download a movie PSAs? Like I'm now imagining one of those that just says you wouldn't craft a cow.
You can't craft a cow.
So I kind of think like I agree. I think the fact that it's craftable seems strange. Like it does seem like way outside of what you typically get with Minecraft mobs. I think the sniffer being able to like find it as an egg and raising it from an egg is fine.
It's the same principle.
But then I think with sniffers being able to breed, I think that's the main distinction here, is that you can't breed happy ghasts. And Whether they made them breedable instead is, that's a possibility for helping us propagate them instead of having to craft them. But I think the main difficulty is just preventing players from hoarding them on multiplayer servers, in the same way that you'll hear of players who will go and find all of the elytra in the end, and from
True.
10,000 blocks out, you're not going to find an end city that's still got an elytra left in it. So, having a crafting recipe for elytra on servers like that is pretty common. Or, making it a loot drop from killing the Ender Dragon is another alternative people had for a good long time. So I think maybe they've just decided that crafting is the most straightforward solution to that. And I think the reason they haven't opted to convert grumpy ghasts into happy ones is really twofold. The first being, as you mentioned, it's not an easy task getting an unhappy ghast into the overworld. They can fireball the portals, they can, cause all kinds of trouble for you, and you had to do that from the nether roof, which is a sensible environment with no obstructions. For players who don't have access to that because they're on Bedrock Edition, or they don't like to go onto the nether roof on Java Edition, or they don't know how, I think that's difficulty number one. Also, the size of portal you have to build. Some players don't even know you can make a nether portal that's bigger than 2x3.
Yes.
So, that presents another obstacle. I think for the average player who is not read up on the technical side of Minecraft and knows how to trap a ghast and, do all of the prep necessary to get an uneasy alliance, it feels like a lot of work. Yeah, and it isn't immediately obvious. The other flip side to this is, as we mentioned earlier, regular ghasts don't spawn in peaceful mode, whereas the dried ghasts are going to be there as part of world generation, and the ghastlings and happy ghasts are both passive, so they're not going to be subject to the same spawning rules as peaceful mobs with, or peaceful mode having no hostile mobs. So I think it's a really good transport option for peaceful players, especially since they can't get to the end dimension because they don't have access to blaze rods and ender pearls in the same way, and so they wouldn't be able to get hold of elytra. Giving them happy ghasts allows them a flying option, even if it's a slow one, right? So I think there's so much, there are so many good ideas for how happy ghasts could propagate other than the crafting recipe, but they all have a fairly significant downside that we don't think about if we're just used to regular survival gameplay.
Yeah. I was going to say, do piglins spawn in peaceful and just not attack?
Yeah, I think they do. I think even zombie piglins do, and maybe they despawn if they become aggressive or something. But yeah, I think piglins are still there.
The bartering system now means that could be the option. But again, if you're... I think Minecraft does a good job of trying to think about all of its players, and a lot of its players are children, and a child is not necessarily going to know, if I give this piglin gold, it will give me this flying... this thing that I then need to put in water. They're not necessarily going to know that, whereas they can see an item on the floor and go, oh, I'll pick that up. And it will then, I'm assuming, probably pop up. Minecraft has its sort of tutorial-esque type things occasionally. And I think it's a good... I think they've thought about all of their audience in the way they've gone about it. I still think crafting it is unusual. I do think the point of people hoarding it on multiplayer servers and making sure people don't run into issues like that, I do agree. It seems a bit creepy to be able to craft a life form when you cannot craft any other life form. But hey.
It's a new mechanic, and it's one that I think they're still taking feedback on. I think, honestly, the move to make them a bartering item from piglins is also a good one, and we could even see that phase out the happy ghast crafting recipe, because...
Essentially.
Yeah, I imagine there is a lore explanation that people could invent for, piglins having, I don't know, raised some of these ghasts or captured some of them in their dehydrated form, raided a soul sand valley and brought them back to a bastion or something like that. And then, if they have happy ghasts available for bartering, then that's another great way of getting hold of them on multiplayer servers, because you can't restrict that. Anyone who's got gold and a piglin can potentially get one at that stage. So I don't think that's too terrible. I'm kind of curious if that leads to them phasing out the crafting recipe entirely, or if they keep the crafting recipe in just because they feel like it's another fun use for ghast tears, which we didn't have before. And ghast tears, I've heard the justification that ghast tears are used to craft end crystals, and those can respawn the ender dragon, and so there is some kind of life-giving property to them, especially with them being used in regeneration potions as well. There's a little bit of thematic consistency tying them together, but you're right, it does feel very strange that we are crafting a life form. It feels like we're crossing a weird line at that stage, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I like the idea of the regen properties of the tiers, though. I do think that does make sense. Yeah.
It does. And while we're on the topic of bringing stuff to life in Minecraft, how about bringing Minecraft to life itself? When I knew that we were going to have you on as the guest host for this show, I wanted to talk to you about ways that Minecraft and real life have blended, because in your YouTube videos, you've had a very popular series recently in which you've started doing Minecraft stuff in real life, blurring the lines a little bit. We've also had things like the augmented reality approach that Minecraft Earth took, of bringing Minecraft builds into the real world. And then, of course, we've had the high-budget Hollywood approach of a Minecraft movie, which I know you attended the premiere for, so you've seen it, and you can give your thoughts on that experience as well. But first, I wanted to talk about how Minecraft first entered your life. When we have a new guest on the show, it's always nice to discuss how Minecraft kind of made its way into your life to begin with. So you mentioned being quite young, and in the render distance, you were talking about playing on split screen back in the day. So when was your first time picking up Minecraft?
So I'm showing our age gap there, because I was about 11. I think I started playing it about 14 years ago. It was very, very early. I think my actual first ever experience of Minecraft was on the family computer. When it was finally my turn to have a go, and it was when Minecraft was online only and on web browser.
Oh, so like Minecraft Classic, like really really old Minecraft.
I've been an OG Minecraft enjoyer. So yeah, and at that point it was just essentially creative only. It was creative only. You could just place blocks,
and there were like 12 blocks or something at the time, right? There was not very much.
And then you could go on online servers, and I distinctly remember there were so many servers where you could get op, and it was just, you would just get op because you'd built something, and then they'd be like, okay, you can have op now, and I remember building this gosh awful ugly plane, and then being like, can I have op now? And they went, yeah, okay. And I actually shared that account with my brother. We put our pocket money together to share, to have our first Minecraft account. And our username, I don't mind sharing this, was 00Scott00, because my brother is called Scott, and he was born in the year 2000. And we shared that account. So everyone also thought I was a boy, and I had to be like, no, I'm actually a girl. Yeah. So that was my first ever experience. And then it kind of evolved into the Xbox version. My brother and I would play on that. We had the Xbox version and Java. And for a long time, we hacked the system of being able to play with one Minecraft account, because what you used to be able to do, and I don't know if you can do this anymore, was you could open to LAN, and on your Minecraft account, and then we had a laptop as well, and we'd then log in on the laptop on the Minecraft account and then join via LAN, because we were on the same Wi-Fi. So it would be 00Scott00 and 00Scott00 brackets 1 on one world. Yeah. And then eventually they fixed that. They stopped you being able to do that, because I think they realized, and then we couldn't play together on there anymore. But that was my first ever experience.
Money. Greedy Mojang.
I know. Greedy. I know. And then Minecraft has always been a part of my life. Hello, Pochi. He's just, funnily enough, thrown a creeper toy on his bed. Thanks, mate.
You've also done the most Minecraft thing in real life recently, which is you've adopted a cat.
Yes.
So that's hence the creeper toys getting thrown around.
But yeah, it was then, some people I know who are in the content space very much played Minecraft religiously growing up, all the time, and then they were on PvP servers, and I actually was very much in the camp of people who would have a 3-week Minecraft spin-off 3 times a year, and you'd be really into it. And it was only when I started content that I really started playing fully regularly, and at that point when I started content, I bought my brother out of the account, because we shared a Minecraft account for 12 years.
Wow.
And I went, I'm making content now. And I think he changed the username at one point. And I went, don't do that. Here's I bought you a new Minecraft account. Here it is. Here's the email and the password. You can change it. You have that now. I'm paying for it. And so, I actually only a few years ago bought him out of the account. And that's when I started playing it more regularly. But yeah, that was... it's been important in my life from, I actually cannot believe that I was 11 years old. When we were on the flight to Sweden to go to the offices, I actually could not think about the fact that we were going to the offices because otherwise I started crying.
Oh,
Because I just thought about little 11-year-old me playing with my brother every week. And I actually couldn't think of it. Even when we were there, I couldn't actually like think about it too much because I'd start crying. I just would be like, this is crazy. Like but yes, it's been a very long time. It's been a very, very long time for me.
Yeah, definitely one of those moments where like if you could talk about like if you could tell your 11-year-old self that like in however many years, you'd just be like mind blown, like no idea what
truly.
to do with that information. Yeah.
I actually I had a very sweet moment on a train about a year ago where I was at a table and it was the summer and it was a mum and her 2 kids, and the little boy was a little terror. He kept trying to kick me and he had this cheeky little grin. I didn't mind. And the girl was sat next to me and she must have been about 11 and she was playing Minecraft on her phone and her mum kept trying to talk to her. And all she cared about was Minecraft. And we spoke a little bit because she kept apologizing for the little boy being a pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, I was like, I can't remember exactly what I said. I remember I said like, I was like her. All I cared about was Minecraft when I was little. And I said, I know it might seem silly, but it's my job now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it might be annoying that she's stuck, but you know, like there's prospects out there. And she was like, it's your job. And I was like, yeah. And then she told the daughter and the daughter was like, oh my God, wow. And I was like, yeah, this is my full-time job. I do Minecraft things now. And it was really sweet. And I was just like, oh man, there are a few games that I think have the longevity that Minecraft has. And it just felt really special to see someone who was 11 and playing Minecraft for the first time in their lives and just being obsessed with it. And I was like, if you don't grow out of this, there is a life where you can make this your job as well.
Yeah.
It was just a very cute moment. But yes, it's been there for a very long time for me.
I think that's so lovely as well, like the level of connection that Minecraft brings to us, like whether it's you know, strangers being able to be like, we have this shared language and understanding. Like I've met like people's kids or like, you know, relatives even have had like, you know, younger like nieces and nephews and things like that who are like into their Minecraft phase, and they're always so fascinated to know that you're an adult who understands what they're talking about. And they're like, you know, I need to ask you all these questions about like, have you ever seen an Enderman and like things like that, right? And it's always such an interesting way to bridge that gap between, you know, the kind of parent who wants their child to like, you know, put down the phone and engage in conversation, and the child who's just like absorbed in their own universe. But if you can meet them on their terms, if you can enter that universe with them, it's always great. And we've had emails on the show before about people like playing Minecraft with their kids, and it always seems like such a rewarding way of spending time together when you're meeting the kid on their terms instead of expecting them to join you in your activities all the time, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful. I think it's the perfect game for it as well. Like ultimately, I mean, I speak to people and I say like, oh, you know the game Minecraft, and they'll be like, oh yeah, my kids play that, and I'm like, yeah, play it with them one time because you actually might really like it. It's so universal. But yeah, it's been there for a very long time.
So similar to the feeling that you had going to the Mojang offices, did you have the same feeling going to the premiere of the Minecraft movie here in the UK?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we were very fortunate. We didn't. Part of the premiere was like essentially a whole weekend. So the evening before, we went to a dinner, and they had set up a whole little like real life Minecraft village. And they had like potion bottles, which had cocktails in. And all of the food was square. Like literally all of the food was cut up square, and it was all and just the set design there was incredible. And yeah, just a whole bunch of pinch me moments. I mean, the movie itself, the premiere was remarkable. We'd had a brunch just before, where again, all of the brunch food was square, which was very cute. Yeah, it was just another major pinch me moment of like, I can't believe I'm here. Firstly, I can't believe that Minecraft has a movie.
Yeah.
Wow. Like to see a game come that far. And then also to be like, I out of all the people in the world who could be at this, I'm at this. That's absolutely crazy. And I'm at it with my friends who I've met through this game and my partner who I met through this game. Like, what is going on? None of this, it makes any sense. And actually, it's entirely ridiculous. But it's wonderful. And it was so surreal. But it was also so incredible. And it was also just so lovely to be at an event where everybody there is pretty enthusiastic about this game. And there were a couple creators who were there who actually aren't really involved in Minecraft, but you speak to them and they go, oh yeah, I mean, I've always thought Minecraft's like super cool. Or yeah, I used to play it when I was a bit younger. I have really fond memories of it. So it's you're surrounded by people who had such a positive impression of the game. And yeah, I guess the only downside was I wish even more people were there. I wish we'd had the whole gang. But yeah, it was really, really, it was awesome. It's such a good film. I mean, there are some people who don't like it, and I just go, well, I just don't think it's for you then.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's for you because it's not the most incredible plot writing ever, it's not, but it's fun. And the moment, I mean, spoilers, obviously, I guess, but not really. I'm not going to reveal plot, but like
we've already talked spoilers in a previous episode,
okay.
So there's absolutely no problem like discussing the plot of it. We've done it before.
But I was going to say, the moment you see the overworld for the first time in that film, it reminds me of when you see the game for the first time when you're 11 years old, if you are someone who's experienced, and it's really emotional. Like we were in the theater and me and Beck talked afterwards and we were talking about how like both of us like felt like crying when you see that overworld for the first time, and the set design, the amount of passion that went into it. When we were in Sweden, we got to see some behind the scenes of the set design, and it's the same person who did the Lord of the Rings set.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize enough how much care and thought they put into every single element of that set. I think people could assume it was CGI. It's not. Obviously, like the sky is and things like that, but it's not. It's all handcrafted and made to try and find that balance between being close to the vanilla game in real life. And yeah, it's just awesome from start to finish. The whole experience was super cool. And I got to wear a cool green dress and dress up like Alex for the day as well.
You got to walk the green carpet at the premiere, which like I've seen the pictures from that and it looks super fun. They even have like a little section of the set almost built there with like flowers and mushrooms and like little azalea saplings and stuff. I think that's so cool. And I wonder if that when Joel and I saw the movie, we were both like a little bit more critical of it. But I think because we're both older adults, we've not really been like, we don't have kids, either of us. So we were going there on our own just to appreciate the Minecraft movie on its own merits. And I think the experience that you went on, being able to like go and have dinner and brunch, and the immersion starts when you're handed a plate full of food that looks like blocks, and then you got to immerse yourself in like a little section of the set, kind of doing photo shoots on the red carpet, and then you get to go in and experience the film. So it feels like the film has already kind of enveloped you at that stage, and I wish more people could have had that experience with it, because it seems like the cinema going experience is one of the things that made this film special for a lot of people.
Yes.
And that was obviously down to audience interaction and, whether you could have a stronger tolerance for the kind of shenanigans that people were bringing into the theater. That would really determine whether or not you had a great time in the theater itself, right?
Yeah.
That immersive quality, that sort of shared experience that you had with other people really contributed to whether or not you felt like the Minecraft movie was successful in what it was doing.
I think there's Hank Green spoke about the Minecraft movie. If you know who Hank Green is,
I've seen the video he made. Yeah.
Yes, I love that video because I'm obviously a Minecraft movie defender, but I think he sums it up really well. In that what that movie has done is that everybody who has ever had Minecraft in a part of their life and has gone to see that movie had that. You've not seen a film with that level of enthusiasm for years. Like maybe the closest we got was Barbie. But like people, are just so they just got so much joy, and I feel like we don't get that with the cinema anymore. And I feel like when he talks about how looking over and seeing his 8-year-old son's face, this whole movie
absolutely
just made it for him, and that's the point. It's so special to so many people, and it's been a long time since I think I've seen a film that really truly captures that energy.
Yeah.
I think what it needs reiterating is it's a Minecraft movie. It's also not the Minecraft movie. It's one experience, one adaptation of what Minecraft can be. And I think they've done a really good job of capturing that. I know some people are like, oh, I didn't like how the sheep was designed or this was done. And I'm like, but that's how they did it. And that was their adaptation of it in that moment. And yeah, I think they did a great job.
Yeah, I think the thing Joel and I really agreed on the fact that the visual style was really good. Like I think the production effort that went into the movie, and I think that's another thing. When the original trailer came out, a lot of people didn't really understand the visual style, and then they made the featurette that I think they showed at Minecraft Live late last year, and so many more people had more respect for the approach after they understood a bit more of the behind the scenes element of it. Like people who are into Minecraft have a respect for how things are crafted. And so like it made so much more sense in that moment seeing that. And I think if everybody who's seen this had been able to have the experience of like sitting down and immersing themselves in the world of the film beforehand, I really do think that would have made an impact. For those of you listening to the show, if you want to check out the show notes, I have put a link to the Hank Green video in there. I really appreciate the discussion and the point of view that he has, because I've definitely seen a lot of other people sharing the opinion that the movie was so much better for the enjoyment that they experienced, like, vicariously through younger people
like
who are really into
of
it.
Going through that. I was gonna
yeah.
say, I actually I've just realized this. I have a sword.
You have a sword. Oh my gosh.
Minecraft sent me this. This is a replica sword that was used in the movie. Yes, thank you, Minecraft, for sending me this. I'm aware of how flipping expensive it was to ship over and the insurance that was required. It's not obviously the ones that are used in the movie. Actually, like the diamond one, at least, is more transparent, more akin to how it looks in the game with that kind of glowy blue. But these are the replica.
That's like the iron sword kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is it's awesome. It's surprisingly heavy.
It looks heavy.
Yeah, so this is, I can't remember. They had a version that was used for stunt takes, and then they had a version that was used that you see in the film. And I'm guessing this is more akin to one of these stunt ones.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, they very kindly sent this. I got to have a look at this when we were in Sweden and look at some of the props. But yeah, I now own this, and it's really cool. And it looks awesome. I don't know to what extent you can see it on camera, but it is beautifully painted, and I think it looks really cool, and I think it's awesome.
I think that's another example of the blending of Minecraft and real life that I really enjoy. Like the notion that somebody has taken the time and care to craft something that feels like something from Minecraft has breached into our reality is such a fun concept. And that's something I want to circle back to your videos, because that's something you've been doing on YouTube for a little while, starting, of course, with the best reference to your username ever, with the soups. So
I'm SoupForEloise, and this is SoupForEloise.
Yes, you made the most excellent video trying to create and then rate all of the Minecraft soups in real life. And since then, you've played Minecraft, you've beat Minecraft in real life, in that you did a bunch of real life experiences that were similar to the survival experience. You've created golden apples, I think, in one of those videos, and you've done all of the baked goods as well. You've done like cake and stuff like that. Yeah. So, first question: is there going to be one episode that's just you trying different meats? Are you going to roast a chicken and then do a steak and then some pork chops?
No, I'm going to do a video that is every food in Minecraft.
Oh wow, the ambitious one.
It's going to take me a really long time.
I bet.
There's a lot of food in the game, guys. I know I have it planned out. I'll be doing the meats and things like that, but there'll also obviously be the potatoes, like jacket potatoes, the carrots. And yeah, I'm planning to do a video that is I made every single food from Minecraft in real life. So the meats will be happening. And I actually, I don't know. I don't know if I can bring myself to eat rabbit. I don't know if I can, but maybe I'm going to have to for the video.
I will confess to, when I went to Valencia a couple of years ago for an anniversary with my partner, we tried Valencian paella, which is made with both rabbit and snails. So I've eaten a little more broadly, I guess.
I've eaten rabbit before.
Yeah.
My stepdad made it for us when I was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fine. It's been a long time since I've eaten it, but yes,
You just have a lot more context now for what rabbits are, and that kind of just more of a sentimental streak these days.
Oh, it's just you can't really get a fillet of rabbit. It sort of is.
Yeah,
the
it's
whole thing,
unapologetically
and
what it is. Kind of similar to when you see a raw chicken in the
yes.
shops. Yeah.
Yeah, really, yeah. But yeah, no, I did. I started off with the soups because of my username. And all I will say is, oh my God, do not try and make suspicious stew. It's horrible.
Did you put like dandelions in it or something?
Horrible.
Was that how it ended up?
So basically, I looked at all of the flowers. So you can craft suspicious stew in the game. You often find it, but you can also craft it with flowers and mushrooms. And I went, okay, well, let's look at the flowers that you can craft the soup with. And dandelion, I was like, okay, well, dandelion's quite commonly used in teas and things like that. So that makes the most sense. I did get a few comments going, well, you didn't actually craft all the soups because you didn't do every variation of suspicious. It's still, all of them are blanket called suspicious stew.
Also,
some of the flowers that are used in the game would literally poison me.
They're toxic. Like you don't want to put an orchid in anything for one thing. Like where the
would
roses
kill me.
don't
I can't.
exist.
So I went with dandelions, which I knew were already used in food. And I looked up. I went tippity tappity on my computer, and I went, okay, what dandelion soups are there? And update, there's not very many of them. And I found one that was from a wild foraging blog, and it was how to make dandelion stew with dandelion leaves. Because I also then got a lot of comments of going, if you want to cook with dandelions, I really recommend using the flour. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you guys. I was following a recipe.
Yeah.
This recipe called for the leaves. It did not call for the flowers because the flowers are sweet tasting. That is why they are used in teas and jams and syrups. They would not make a good soup. They would not make
Did the leaves make a good soup though?
Oh no, terrible. There's quite a comical shot where I stir it and dip my finger in it because it's my soup. I can dip my finger in my own soup, and then I go and immediately run to the sink from the teeniest taste. It was dreadful. No. So that was my own fault. I ordered some dandelion leaves from someone who sells them for rabbits. They're common rabbit food. Mm-hmm. I didn't forage them myself because I didn't know what to look for. So I was like, I'll let someone else do it. Turns out dandelion leaves, when they are older, are extraordinarily bitter, and when they should only be picked for human consumption when they are young. Unfortunately, this recipe that I was following did not mention this. It assumed a level of foraging knowledge from the reader that I did not have.
It feels like an important point. Yes. Maybe an asterisk somewhere in there
dreadful.
Would have helped, right? Yeah.
Truly dreadful. But it's really fun. And I think doing that, it really sparked something in me. I was like, this is really fun. I want to do this more. And so the next one I did was the desserts, which definitely wasn't just an excuse to make cake and write it off as a tax expense.
Absolutely. Like living the content creator dream, making a cake that's a tax write-off. Yeah.
But I started to really enjoy it. I was like, because I mean, particularly with the desserts, I was trying to replicate their visual icons, and they're quite iconic. Like the cookie isn't actually round. It's I got a lot of comments being like, oh wow, I'm surprised you actually didn't just do a round cookie, like you cut out the shape that the icon is. And and I really liked the challenge. I really like trying to take something that is so stylistic and bring it into real life. I did the golden apple, which was an interesting endeavor. It worked well, and I wanted to see if I could do it. Take something that was, I don't know, I'm just really enjoying it. I did do the Minecraft in real life, where I tried to beat the game in real life. Some of it was certainly clutching at straws. Some of it was very accurate. I went to a real life farm. I went to a real life mine. Yeah. And it was super fun. I mean, I guess I just kind of went, wow, I love this game. How do I make this game my whole life? How do I make this game my real life? And it's not stopping there. I have plans to essentially become every Minecraft villager in which I will be trying out all of the villager
Oh,
professions.
so you're going to be butchering at some point? That's the...
I think I might not do that one.
Well, you could just do that one at home in your own kitchen. Spatchcock a chicken and you'll be fine.
Guys, I've cut up this chicken. There we go. No, but I'll be doing like blacksmithing. There's some pretty cool leather binding workshops you can do to make leather binding books, which I'm like, that counts as the leather worker and the librarian.
I think doing that in person is probably far more interesting than what the leather worker actually provides in the game, because I've always found them the least interesting villager, but probably one of the more
totally
interesting
useless.
professions, or like, more fascinating from my perspective.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And I mean, just in terms of content, as a content creator, it's been really nice to find my own niche. And find something that is there's a lot of Minecraft creators out there, and there's so much wonderful content that's made in game. And I wanted to think about what could I do that felt different, what could I do that lined with my other interests, and also felt like it bounced off of my personality more. And I feel like I've found that. And yeah, I'm really excited to keep doing stuff like that. And I think what an excellent game to try and do that with, because it's a game that is so familiar. A lot of the concepts in Minecraft are familiar to real life. Like, you eat food, you need to get boats to travel across water. Everything's very familiar. Obviously, when you live in Nether and things like that.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
It's all very familiar. And so to try and take that, but it's also very strange. Nothing works in the way that it works in the ordinary world. And so to try and then create that in real life is a really fun challenge. And I am really looking forward to it.
I imagine
you doing it.
You didn't use 3 buckets of milk to make your cake. I think that's probably
that would be dreadful.
Step number 1. And I think the other interesting things to cover as far as like making Minecraft a reality and the blurring of the lines between the two. Did you ever play Minecraft Earth at all?
I have to admit, no. It was just before I really I think it was before I did content. So it was before my big era. And I think, I don't think I really did. I'm familiar with it. I love the Moo Bloom more than anything, and I miss the Moo Bloom. But I loved the concept. I absolutely adored the concept. I'm kind of sad it didn't go further than it did, really. I guess it didn't boom in the way that it could have done. Did you have a go with it?
Yeah, I did. It suffered from the circumstances of the time. Like it released on a generation of devices that was not really able to keep up with the drain on resources, because unlike Pokemon Go, it was really sort of predicated on the success of Pokemon Go and the ARG, being able to go around and catch Pokemon in your local neighborhood. And Minecraft Earth had the map version of that, which was just you kind of tapping on blocks and mobs in order to gather them for resources. But then the majority of the other experience of it required you to have the camera on constantly, which is a massive drain on device battery. And I played for a couple of months on a phone that couldn't really handle it, but what phone could? I had like a couple of, portable battery packs that I would plug it into if I wanted to play for more than like 30 minutes. And I thought as an experience, it was very exciting. Like it was the ability to build something and superimpose it on the real world was very cool. Like I made a couple of 8x8, they had like little build plates that you had to stick to a certain size of. I made like a house that was just really tall. I made like a kind of castle keep corner that I put, and I put that down in the park in Brighton and just took like a screenshot of it in situ and was like, wow, it feels really strange seeing Minecraft blocks in a real life environment. And they're not feeling like there was that much of a visual difference between some of them. I mean, like, a lot of buildings in Brighton are kind of like, there's older architecture here, there's sort of Victorian houses, and there's some stone buildings, and there's not like a castle or anything, but it really felt like, some of this stuff could really fit in. I think the other thing that Minecraft Earth suffered from was it was released right before COVID happened, and so we ended up with a bunch of people who were being told not to go outside, trying to play a game that required
and
you
a game that says, please go outside.
Exactly, yeah. And so
Yeah.
they tried to make a couple of changes to it to really like accommodate that, but it unfortunately it just didn't really work, and presumably didn't generate enough revenue from people being at home playing it and not having the devices that could support it for all that long. So I think it was really ahead of its time, but too far before its time that it could really like ease into a new generation of devices and a player base that was able to go out and play it. But I think that was such an interesting experience, and I really wish it had stuck around for things like vibrant visuals now, considering that you could have realistic lighting angles in the sort of bedrock simulation of the game that they were doing for Minecraft Earth, and you could almost like try and line that up with where the sun was in real life, and it would really add to the notion that what you were building was part of the world around you. And it's such a shame that we don't have the opportunity to do stuff like that anymore, but Minecraft Earth was really one of those interesting projects that kind of allowed the blurring of the lines between Minecraft and reality.
I think what they're doing currently with the experiences, the one in Texas and the one in London, is a very interesting, different take on that. Obviously, it's a catered experience and you're not out and about in the real world, but you are kind of playing the game using your real body rather than a keyboard or mouse or controllers.
Totally.
And we got to experience a little bit of that when we went down for the movie. It was a couple of days before they opened, so we only got to do one room. And the crafting mechanics are really cute. And you have your little cube and you go collect your resource, and then you've got to craft it on a crafting table that you put your little cube in and put them in the right spots. And I think that's obviously it's a capsule moment. You can't take that every day, but I think that's been a really nice way for them to try and bring Minecraft into a real life feeling. And I do want to go and do the full things. Like I said, we only got to experience one room, and it's a whole like.
But definitely something that you would go back and do, like you're interested.
Oh yeah, I do want to see the full experience, and it's really cute. You sit there and you've got the trees projected on like the wall, and you go like this with your little block, and it's very cute. It's definitely, I guess that's more about bringing yourself into Minecraft, whereas Earth was bringing Minecraft into the real world.
Yeah.
But I think it's two sides of the same coin essentially, and that coin being Minecraft is an immersive real life experience, and I really like it. It's very fun. I wish if they ever wanted to bring back Earth and update it in some way and tweak it with phones now, honestly, even in the last 5-6 years, having a lot more capacity and a lot more people owning phones with larger capacity, I think that would be really cool. Because I mean, obviously that just entirely feeds into my niche. The movie you're releasing, I was like, this is great. This is the complete niche that I've walked myself into in content. So, good stuff. I will say it's also very unique. You don't see many other games attempting that. I'd say the closest you have obviously is Pokemon Go, with how they, have tried to create you playing the game, but it's melded into your everyday life. And I don't think many other games have ever really bothered with that. And I like that. I mean, some might take a terribly negative capitalist view and being like, yeah, they're just trying to sell you, they're trying to make your whole life this. And I'm like, okay, they can. I don't mind.
You're
it's fun. It's innovative.
Like you said, that's become your niche at this point. Like that's become something that you fully embraced, and you've done so much with it that I think is so fun in showing people what's possible with Minecraft beyond just its experience as a single video game. Like there's so much more immersion that you've created in that way.
I think people sometimes want that. They want some, I don't know, there's a reason people love Pokemon Go. There's a reason that had Minecraft that maybe had a few tweaks, it probably would have had that same feeling and love from people. It's just that it's somehow you've taken this little world in your pocket and you're bringing it out into real life, and I like that. I like that a lot. And I hope Minecraft does more of it, honestly. I really do. I think it's the perfect game for it. I really think it's an incredible game for it.
That was going to be my next question, really, just to wrap things up here. Do you think there's anything else they can do? Like, do you think there's anything else that, whether we as players can do or the Mojang team could explore other opportunities to make Minecraft more immersive and blur those lines further between Minecraft as an experience and real life?
I mean, in terms of the game itself, I do think vibrant visuals will help. Obviously, it makes it feel more akin to real life lighting, and I like that a lot. I think the the way they're trying to go about doing things like the Minecraft experience is really fun. And I think that does a great job. As a player, I don't know. I just think you kind of have to. I think it's just about the mindset you go into it with. Some people don't want Minecraft to feel like real life or immersive in real life. They want it to be an escape from that. Other people, I see so many videos at the moment. People are creating like Sheffield Meadowhall in Minecraft, or York in Minecraft, and people, there's an innate desire to do that. I don't know. I don't know what Minecraft could do. Obviously, we've got the VR version. But yeah, I don't know. Just it's a game that does lend itself to being easily replicatable in real life. And the food that we had at that experience was awesome. If they ever want to do more pop-ups with that kind of thing, that would be really cool. I think people would flock to that kind of thing. Like, oh, there's a London like 3-day pop-up and you can go in and it's like a food market, and they create, they recreate some of those sets from the movie and bring them to a real life thing. People would eat that up, literally and figuratively. Like, people would love that kind of thing. And I don't know if that would really provide a long-term feeling of like immersion, but I think it would feel special in those moments. And maybe it's not always about long-term. Maybe it's about those special moments of immersion. But yeah, I don't know. What about you? Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, what do you think?
I'm going back to what you said earlier about how Minecraft brought you together with all of the friends that you eventually went to go and see the Minecraft movie with, and a partner who you've been with for a while who you met through Minecraft. And I sort of think that one of the strengths of Minecraft as a game overall is bringing people together. And it's brought people together across like cultural boundaries, across countries, across like, all sorts of divides, generational divides, bringing like parents together with their kids to play together and create stuff together. And I sort of think if there's a way that Minecraft can encourage people to do stuff like that in real life, the amount of community that we've seen building around the movie, for better or for worse, has been a result of people sharing ideas around this and crafting a group experience for everybody going to see the movie that day. And so I think if there's anything that Minecraft can do in terms of bringing in-person events back, like Minecraft Festival that they were planning, and like the amount of opportunity to like almost have like an SMP but in real life kind of situation where like, whether it's people all coming together to do some sort of big event, I think that's really the way that Minecraft can enter our lives in a more substantial and more fulfilling way. It can enter real life that way, is to find more ways of bringing people together in a space, which has obviously been very difficult since the pandemic. But I think at this point, with events and stuff starting to pick back up and better safety standards and that kind of stuff, I think there is a time, maybe in the distant future still, but there is going to be a time when stuff like that is possible. And I think that's really exciting with the Minecraft community kind of moving from strength to strength in recent years. There's got to be a point at which some kind of large-scale event can happen and everybody who has a shared love of Minecraft can kind of come together and all experience it together in the real world.
I think so. And I am hopeful for that. Absolutely.
For sure. Right. Well, we're going to wrap up our discussion there. We're going to talk a little bit in the post-show for patrons as well, so we're going to keep the recording rolling. But for now, thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Spawn Chunks. You can find more information about the show and links to some of the stuff that we've talked about today over at thespawnchunks.com. The music for the show is composed by me, and the podcast is, as always, a listener-supported podcast. If you get some value out of listening to The Spawn Chunks, consider putting some value back in. You can do that at patreon.com/thespawnchunks. Joining our community there, pledging at any of our paid tiers, gets you an invite to our patrons-only Discord chat. You could have been here live listening to me and Eloise chop it up about Minecraft, and you'll be here for Joel's episodes as well, of course. We miss you, Joel. Get well soon. We also have monthly Minecraft hangouts with our patrons where they can let us know what they've been up to in Minecraft that month, kind of like the quick login we do on the show. So there's always room for more in our Patreon community. We currently have 283 patrons, which is down a few from last week, but Patreon sort of clocks numbers a little bit differently these days. Now we're on the subscription model. So either way, thank you so much for all of your support. Special thanks go out to our content engineer patrons, Hunter555, Jumbo Sale, Mindtrip Media, Party Voyager, and Yitz. Thank you all for your support on this episode. Sharing the podcast with your friends is the easiest way to support the show. You can find us at The Spawn Chunks across all the social media that matters. New episodes come out on Mondays on all the major podcast platforms, including the video version that we have on YouTube. If you're interested in emailing the show and getting your email read in our listener email segment, you can email the show at spawnchunkmail@gmail.com. If you're looking for the RSS feed, you can grab that directly from thespawnchunks.com, but the patron-only RSS feed is on the Patreon page, which is where you can listen to the render distance, the extended version of the podcast. Eloise, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode and standing in for Joel. Big shoes to fill, and you have filled them admirably. Where can people go if they want to tune in to your Minecraft adventures and join your community?
Well, firstly, thank you for having me. And SoupForEloise is pretty much my at everywhere. Eloise is spelled Eloise. So SoupForEloise. The soup is for me. I am Eloise.
There it is.
But yeah, anywhere there. That's where I am all the time. If you follow me on Twitch, I'm mostly playing Misadventures at the moment. My YouTube is more catered to that Minecraft in real life stuff, but I do also have a VODs channel. So yeah, if you want more of that, go to those places. We'll be happy to have you.
Literally catered to your your IRL stuff in the case of the food videos.
This is true.
You know me at this point, folks. My name is Jonny. The internet knows me as Pixel Riffs. You can find most of what I do at youtube.com/pixelriffs, playing Misadventures and Craft Mine over there. I'm also streaming 3 days a week on Twitch, doing behind-the-scenes work for the YouTube series, mostly grinding for the skeleton dog on Misadventures, I'll be honest. But I'm also playing a couple of other games on the side. I still play a bit of Elden Ring from time to time, and I've been playing Claire Obscure Expedition 33 as like a little bonus game on the side, having a lot of fun with that game. So check it out if you're 18 plus, because it does tackle some pretty heavy stuff. In the meantime, you can find me as the voice of the unofficial Hermitcraft recap, which you can find through a quick YouTube search. Aside from that, I'm at Pixel Riffs on both Blue Sky and Instagram. And with that, thanks for visiting the Spawn Chunks. The world outside is infinite, and there's always time for soup.